Hello and welcome to the program. I'm your host, Neil Howard, here on Health Professional Radio. Glad that you could return again and join us for this segment. Going to have a conversation this segment with Mr. Harvey Warren. He's here to talk about his new book, The Optimized Patient, How to Prepare for, Survive, and Recover from Spine or Other Major Surgeries. Thank you for joining us on the program, Harvey. How are you?
My pleasure. I'm great. Thanks for having me.
The Optimized Patient. Well, a bit of background about yourself.
I'm a patient, and
okay.
my authority is that I went through spine surgery 3 times, and along the way of doing that, I learned a little something about, from a patient's perspective, what the patient's responsibility is and what we have to do as the partner with the surgeon in order to get better from the surgery.
You suffered an injury. Was this a disease, or what happened?
Well, a little both. I had unbeknownst to me, stenosis in my lumbar region, and I had a terrible car crash in Evanston, Wyoming about 9 years ago. And after a couple of years of struggling with chiropractors and epidurals and a whole bunch of stuff that ultimately didn't work, I had to go see a spine surgeon, and along the way learned about minimally invasive technologies that are up and coming and evolving that are really helping patients to weather these very, very difficult surgeries and recover as quickly as possible.
The Optimized Patient, is it a book that advocates being your own healthcare advocate, or is it something a little bit more than that?
Well, it's way more than that. And we do talk about, the patient's Bill of Rights and what patients need to know and do. But in a much, much bigger picture, the thing about the book is that there's so many moving parts to getting better between rest and activity, proper nutrition, and a proper mindset that people have no idea how complex it is to recover from major surgery. People presume that their surgeon is going to guide them through it, but that's really not what surgeons do. And it's a very, very common misunderstanding. I have to tell you, the surgeons are delirious about this book. They're so glad that finally a patient wrote a book about how people get better, that it's not all about the doctor. It's not about being your own advocate. It's about being your own motivator, your own nutritionist, your own physical therapist, of taking responsibility for your healing and getting busy to get better.
So if I'm understanding correctly, it's not putting all of the, success of a procedure on the surgeon. It's more about you.
Well, it's really a team thing, absolutely. And the surgeon's going to do what they do, which is to fix the problem, the structural problem in your back, a bulging disc, a broken vertebrae, whatever it is. Then the whole process of getting better, of actually doing the physical therapy, the first 3 words of my book are it's a commitment. And it really is a commitment to go see your physical therapist, to eat food that will help you heal, to get the proper activity and blood flow to the injured, space in your body so that you can heal, to have the proper mindset to believe that you really can get better, because if you don't believe you can get better, you're not going to.
In light of this epidemic that we're calling the opioid epidemic,
right?
What about some of the misconceptions that these drugs have no place in getting better anymore? I mean, sure, there's a lot of pain involved, and isn't pain and the alleviation of that pain part of the mindset that you spoke of earlier?
Absolutely. And the proper understanding what pain's about is, I think you're right, one of the biggest problems in the recovery process. If you've ever really sprained your ankle or bumped your elbow really hard or sprained your wrist, you know that it hurts for a couple, 3, 4, 5 days. After a week, you're feeling a lot better. You don't really need opioids to recover from that. Yeah. The same is really true of surgery. The first week or so, it's critically important that you use the painkillers to get comfortable so you can rest, because rest is so important to recovery. Well, over time, over 5, 6, 7 days, the 1 pill every 4 hours has to become 1 pill every 6 hours, 1 pill every 8 hours. Start tapering off so that you can actually, as you said, you can actually feel what's going on in your body and address the pain. This idea that people need to be put out of their senses for, God forbid, they could feel a little uncomfortable really doesn't aid the recovery process. First of all, it's really difficult for your microbiome. And one of the things you need more than anything in recovery, obviously, is good nutrition. And slowing down your digestive tract with opioids is not going to help that outcome.
When you're talking about the type of injury that that you sustained and a lot of other folks, any type of major surgery, but especially when we're talking about the spine, the back, there's a level of fear that maybe is only equaled with, heart surgery or brain surgery. Talk about the fear of the specific type of injury and the fear of maybe not recovering fully from that injury plays a part in your recovery.
Well, I write extensively about the horror stories in the book, and I went to the 4 surgeons that I interviewed for the book together with 6 patients, chiropractor, 2 physical therapists, and a nutritionist. And I said to them, hey, listen, what's with the horror stories? Why are we hearing these terrible stories about people that have rods in their back and they're paralyzed and they're in wheelchairs forever? And those surgeries do happen. They really do. Once in a while, a surgeon will make a mistake. But with an increasing focus on patient outcomes, patients are being much more carefully handled by the doctors because, people are checking now, and insurance companies are referring to doctors that have success and very high success rates. On the other hand, when you hear these horror stories, what's really going on there? Well, it's a little of 2 things. Sometimes it is a bad doctor, but often it's also the patient. The patient who continues to smoke and continues to be overweight and doesn't get the proper activity, doesn't eat the good food, doesn't get the proper rest, and doesn't think they're going to get better or prefers not to get better. Those don't heal, and it's really true. It's a very difficult mix of stuff. There are terrible outcomes, but it's really in your hands. I would say that 90% of it's in your hands. The good bet that a good surgeon is going to do a good job. The actual healing process is in the hands of the patient.
I've heard that there's a thing called a will to live. Is there a will to get better?
Well, the way I write in my book is the will to get well.
Okay, well, the will to get well.
Funny you should mention it. Well, thank you. The will to get well is a whole chapter in my book, and we talk extensively about the successful literature, people like Tony Robbins, the folks that are in the world that talk about better, finances, better style, better relationships, and what has to go on in your mind in order to achieve the things that you really want in life. Well, it is equally applicable to people's mindsets. And the idea of celebrating wins and knowing that, because you were able to walk 20 feet today and you can only walk 18 feet yesterday and 22 feet tomorrow, those little incremental wins are critical to help you understand that you're getting better. It's not a good idea to say, I can't only walk 22 steps today. I used to be able to run for miles. No, you were able to walk 2 more steps than yesterday. And that positive mindset, that growth, that will to get well, and that understanding of wins is what helps people to get better.
Okay, so you're 25 years old. You've got your whole life ahead of you. You're not thinking about a major surgery. You're not thinking about a car accident that affects your spine. How do we change the mindset of what the surgeon's responsibility is in getting better after a major surgery from what it seems to be to what it needs to be based on the optimized patient?
The idea of the book is to inform the patient. Remember, it's a patient-initiated book. And most of the voice of the book is of 6 patients, myself and 5 other spine patients. It's from our point of view in terms of what did we learn? What did we do to get better? How did we prepare? What were the challenges? What were our fears? What did we overcome? How did we deal with the opioids? What did we do about constipation? What is that horrible experience of coming out of anesthesia, antibiotics, and opioids and having your digestive tract completely stop? I mean, how do you rebuild your microbiome? These are all ideas that are never addressed by a surgeon. And it's not that the fact that the surgeon doesn't A, know about it or B, care about it. It's that the surgeon has a very specific role to play, and that's to fix broken pieces. Once the broken pieces are fixed, the whole healing process is in the hands of physical therapists and all sorts of, people that are involved in nursing and bringing people back to health. It takes a lot of work, and the surgeon is not the man to turn to for that because he just fixes broken things. And that really is a mindset shift for people.
Did you encounter people that meant well but seemed to only, kind of feel sorry for you and, didn't share your positivity in your recovery?
Well, yeah, listen, it takes all kinds of different people. There's good and bad and all kinds of people. Some people step up to the plate and they're going to get better by hook or by crook. They're going to do whatever they have to do to get better. And some people just don't engage. And they go, I'm broken. I'm always going to be broken. And I'm going to stay broken. And, I always knew it would be like this. And, some people really think like that. Part of what we try to do with the book is to say, can you for a minute, for a day, put that mindset aside, risk thinking that you can get better. Just go with me for a day. Think that you can get better and see if you can't. See if you can't just improve a little bit today. And we find that when people engage and they get involved in prehab and rehab, that if they follow the programming, and we've got nothing to sell but a book. There's no supplement and all that other nonsense. Mm-hmm. This is just about patient experience. I'll tell you something I learned from Bill Walton. I mean, this is how powerful this stuff is. Bill Walton, the NBA superstar, said, hey, get into a swimming pool, get into that 0G and walk back and forth. It will really do you good. I ultimately found out from a knock with therapists that if you have really severe back pain, and this is a message for everyone that's listening to this, including doctors, if you've got really bad back pain and you walk around in a pool for 3 times a week for a month for an hour a day and just enjoy the core strengthening and the 0G, you know what's going to happen? Your back is going to get better. And if it does get better, you don't need spine surgery. But if it doesn't get better, you do.
Kind of a secret weapon. Well-kept secret.
Yeah.
But not a secret anymore.
Not anymore. Now Bill Walton's on it. Okay.
The Optimized Patient, How to Prepare for, Survive, and Recover from Spine or Other Major Surgeries. Where can we get a copy and learn more about you and the book?
Well, we made it easy for people. We even made an audio book because we know sometimes it's difficult for people to read. I got to tell you, people have difficulty focusing after anesthesia. So you can get it on Amazon, theoptimizedpatient.com, theoptimizedpatient.com. There's directions there on how to get to Amazon, and best way to do it, just order it online and have it sent to your home or download the audio book. And if you have questions for me, I have a little chat window there. Send me your question, and I promise you I will personally send you an answer.
Harvey, great talking with you. Thank you for joining us here on Health Professional Radio.
My pleasure. Thank you for having me.
You've been listening to Health Professional Radio. I'm your host, Neil Howard, in conversation with Harvey Warren, author of The Optimized Patient, How to Prepare for, Survive, and Recover from Spine or Other Major Surgeries. Transcripts and audio of this program are available at hpr.fm and healthprofessionalradio.com.au. You can also subscribe to the podcast on iTunes, listen in, download it, SoundCloud, and be sure and subscribe to our YouTube channel at youtube.com, Health Professional Radio.